I am aware that there are lots of issues with us encouraging people to implement Florida-friendly landscaping principles in their own yards. People do have concerns about implementing the 9 principles. So if we're trying to engage homeowners, especially those that live in HOAs, we're going to get shut down a lot because of the perceptions, the misconceptions that there are about Florida-friendly landscaping. Have you all ever tried to encourage someone to do FFL and they're looking at you like, oh, heck no? So what have you encountered? What are some of the things that they tell you? Yes.
People want generally in a homeowners association, they want it neat, they want it formal, where the clippers come through and keep it all squared up. They think that that's less maintenance, which is a huge misconception.
Yes.
They can come in, they can square it up, they can blow it all back in there, and away they go.
That's beautiful too.
Right, so they
really
think that that's the look. That's aesthetically
clean.
It's called manicured plants.
It's manicured.
Right.
And what have you encountered, Arcella? I think you're the MG who's been at this the longest.
Yeah, the same thing. And if you talk to people like that about using native plants, they just think they're ugly.
Yeah,
Or they're weedy, they reseed everywhere, that's the biggest thing.
Like she
Right.
says, they want that neat thing that nothing changes.
Yeah.
And I'm just
yeah, it's pretty
Wow.
boring.
They want to keep it in a box, and you can't keep a native plant in a box.
So what are the 9 Florida-friendly principles? Just randomly.
Right place,
Right
right plan.
plant in the right place,
Water efficiently.
water and fertilizer friendly,
Mulch, mulch, mulch.
and mulch, and wildlife,
attract a lot of wildlife.
and pesticide friendly.
Is there any one principle itself that really sets people off when you try to talk to them? Is it right plant, right place? Is it your watering? Is it telling them about fertilizer bans?
25% of people don't even realize we have one.
No, no,
And they don't realize what they're putting on the ground.
no, they
They
don't.
have no idea. They just go for the numbers, and they think if I've got a high number of nitrogen, I'm going to have really green
Green
grass.
grass. Right.
They don't realize the amount of product that's going
That's
on
leaching into the environment.
their
Yes.
soil.
And so they think that our goals and their goals don't match, right? But they do. We really do want people to have great property values. And we also want less sinkholes. We do want people to have aesthetically pleasing landscapes. But we also want to use more plants that attract and provide for wildlife that we are displacing, right? So these things can be aligned. These things are not things that are mutually exclusive to one another. There are ways that we can have it all. All right, so social norms, right? And this is always a big problem. What is acceptable and what is expected? Gwen, do you live in an HOA?
Yeah.
So what is accepted and expected in your HOA?
You know, I haven't lived there a year yet, but it's pretty well established, the landscaping. Some people have gone out there and done some of their own thing. They love those crown of thorns.
Oh, yes.
But, you know, it's just, it's really, they've done a pretty good job of,
Can you distinguish one street from another? Are the, like, can you drive down the road and
Yeah.
see one oak per yard and a certain type of plant for the hedge?
yeah.
So it is pretty uniform.
It is, it
That is something that you see a lot within neighborhoods like that, because this is the game plan, right? A certain layout is what sells. A certain type of plant in that layout is what sells. And it is because of social norms. Let's look at the following pictures, and you all can tell me which pictures are FFL and which ones are traditional, and I think the last one is a transition between the two, all right? This one. That's a traditional yard?
It's probably Florida friendly also.
All right, so what makes it Florida friendly, Arzella?
Well,
See mulch.
yeah,
You
it's
see
it's
mulch?
mulch, the things are in beds together and
Uh-huh.
seems to be.
The beds are nice and wide, they're not just little tiny ones.
Right,
around
they're
the house.
big beds.
Big
Right.
beds.
Yes.
They're community beds. I call them.
All right, this one.
That is
Florida
a
friendly
friendly.
or traditional?
That's a Florida friendly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And that's more obvious, right?
No grass, very
That's
strict
more-
grass.
Yeah,
Yes. So the other one was a slight modification on the traditional format, and this one is more
I love that.
overtly Florida friendly.
I love that.
And is it cookie cutter though? Because these people
Yes,
have
it is kind of.
these pretty flowering shrubs here, and
All the way down
those
the
have
side.
more of upright
Yeah,
hedge looking.
on the other side, on the
Right.
street side, that all needs to be plants instead of grass.
Well,
Well, it's
but we have
progress.
taken a step toward
Yes.
the middle, right? What about this yard?
That's a Florida friendly yard.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
and what aspects about it are Florida friendly? What do you
The
see?
big beds, I
The
see
big
more beds
beds,
than I
all
see
of the
grass.
trees, the shade, little bit of grass.
What about the shade, Julia?
Lots of good shade and pine trees.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and all the right plants that go in that bed with that pine tree.
Yes!
And mulch.
That was the most important thing that I noticed, and I put it into my notes. The plants are appropriate, right?
That is the
Those
right
are
plants.
shade-tolerant
Yes.
plants.
These are probably as
Partial to full shade. These are plants that are going to thrive under those conditions. What I'm trying to encourage you all to be able to do, yes. That way when you go to these meetings and people jump up and say, oh, FFL, that's just plain all ugly. You can calmly work through that reasoning with them. All right? You can keep the cool head in the room and say to them, actually, I'm not trying to take away your oak tree. I'm trying to encourage you to treat it better. Actually, I'm not trying to take away your green grass. I'm trying to encourage you to spend $400 less on it every year. I'm trying to encourage you to not have to resod every 3 years, if you make it that long.
You're right.
All right?
You're right.
I'm giving you the new drum beat so that they can start to dance to our tune, which is what they want to do.
They don't
That's
want to
what
be
they
bothered
want to
with this,
do.
but they have
But-
to be. So they want the easier, softer way to get through
But
it.
they're not doing it because they have these wrong ideas, right? About what we're trying to get them to do. So we're trying to say to them, we have the same goals. You want to keep your property value, you want to have a gorgeous landscape, we want that too. You actually want to help mitigate the damage to the environment. You actually want to reduce your amount of water that you're using, be it for financial purposes or you truly do care about our water quality and quantity. Either way, we have a game plan for you to implement if you choose to. And all you have to do is work with us. Sit down and see how I'm not turning your yard into a jungle. I'm trying to encourage you to be able to relax and have less issues. Not spend so much on automatic pest services because your yard is normalizing itself. Okay? Lena, will you be able to identify when people have very negative feelings and very skewed conceptions of what Florida-friendly landscaping is.
I think what you taught us today is interesting in that we're on the same page. And I think that once you can, get the negativity, us and them, that you're like, gee, we want the same thing. And I think that once you start with that idea, which is what you told us, rather than trying to say, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, say, we both want these things, let me show you how to achieve them. So I think that that's what I learned today, which is really good. I understand the concepts, but I think people do want all those things, they just don't know.
Arzella.
Well, all these things I have known,
Yes.
but this has brought them all together for me some way that I understand it better than
How
I
to have
had
that
before.
conversation.
Right, yes, right.